Welcome back to Radio Shack. We're back with Marvel Spider-Man on Disney XD. I'm here to do a little review slash recap on the past two episodes. I know I'm a little late. I'm sorry. But without further ado, let's get into it. A day in the life. I gotta come out and say it right now. This is the best Spider-Man slash Peter Parker episode so far. We get in this episode where Peter Parker is working on his spider tracer, which is how he tracks enemies down if they escape or, you know, get away or anything. But I thought that was really great. But we also get an introduction of a new character, Black Cat, and I love the way the character was introduced and how the character was handled. And not only that, we get to see that she has powers, like if you look into her eyes, she's able to give you bad luck, which is something they have used in the comic books, but hasn't been used in any of the animated series. So I thought that was handled very well. And we see that she is actually stealing this vial that has this black goop in it. That's called V252, and I think we all know where that's heading. Anytime Spider-Man runs into Black Cat, he can't catch her. So luckily he was able to put a tracer on, but his tracer keeps losing the signal. So he has to keep working on that, and because he keeps focusing on that and being Spider-Man, he's kind of losing focus on his life as Peter Parker. He's missing, you know, hanging out with Harry, and when he was hanging out with Harry, he actually focused more on the GPS on his spider tracer than he did hanging out with Harry. And not only that, he's messing up with his school life, you know, with his study group. So you can see being Spider-Man is definitely affecting the life as Peter Parker. So I think that the series is handling this very, very well. But there is a scene where Peter introduces Max to Raymond Warren, and he is trying to, you know, get a job working in Horizon High, but it doesn't go very well. And we see him actually do something with his ring and try to shake Max's hand, but it doesn't go well because Peter actually drags him out the classroom, and he actually gets high-fived by Alexei. So whatever he tried to do to Max ends up affecting Alexei, which goes into the next episode. But before we get into that, we got to finish this episode. As Spider-Man gets ready to have his final confrontation with Black Cat, we see he's actually using his smarts to actually defeat Black Cat, and he's actually able to turn the bad luck onto her, which I thought was handled very greatly. I love the science in this show. And not only that, we get to see Spider-Man actually use these cat puns. You know, some of them were funny, some of them were cheesy, but that is Spider-Man. That's how Spider-Man is and is supposed to be. So I thought that was great. But Spider-Man eventually returns the vial back to Max's office, and we see it actually form a hand and scratch the glass. So we definitely know where we're going with this symbiote. Can't wait. But let's get into the next episode, Party Animals. In this episode, we start off with Spider-Man facing the Spider Slayer, and I thought that was very great. As he defeats the Spider Slayer, you notice that there is a bomb getting ready to go off, and he actually has to use his smarts, you know, use a scientific way to get rid of the bomb, and he actually launches it out of the city. And I thought that was great. And we actually find out that Alistair Smythe was actually controlling that one and is accepted into Osborn Academy. So I thought that is great. We're actually getting into a point where all the villains are going to be at Osborn Academy and all the heroes will be at Horizon High. But not only that, this is the return of Harry Osborn to Horizon High, and the best way to celebrate that is to have a dance, of course, I guess. Before the dance, we have to see Peter go meet with Harry so they can go to the dance, and Norman actually pulls Harry aside so we can actually see why he wants to go back to Horizon High, and we see that Harry wants to build a name for himself, and Norman is actually kind of telling him that Osborn is your name. You have to take advantage of that. And you know, and how would it look on him for Harry to go back to Horizon High when he literally built this school just for Harry? So it's kind of weighing on Harry and actually what his decision is going to be. But we get to the party and we see that Alexei is not feeling well, and we see a horn pop out of his head and he suddenly turns into the Rhino. Yes. And you know, Peter sneaks away, changes into Spider-Man. He actually has to take him down. And I love that Harry, Peter, and Gwen had to go away and try to turn Alexei back into human form, and Gwen actually discovers something a little shady here, and her uncle Raymond might be a little involved, and she sneaks away to go find him, and everyone notices that Gwen's gone and Peter has to chase after her. When she walks into the house, she runs into the Jackal. And I love this. This was a great scene where we see Spider-Man crash through the window where the Jackal is. It was just a great scene. The lighting was just great. And they go at it. I love the fight that they had. I love how when Spider-Man tries to crawl the walls and Jackal actually grabs his leg, kind of like tosses him around the house. And while all that is going on, we see that Gwen sneaks into a secret room and discovers that her uncle is actually the Jackal. She's able to get the cure and turn her uncle back into human form, and she gives Spider-Man the cure so they can turn Alexi back into human form. And we end the episode with Harry deciding to go back to Osborn Academy because, you know, he can't say no to his dad, you know, because it's his dad. But I do think both these episodes were pretty good. I do think A Day in the Life is the best episode so far. It is definitely the better episode of the two, and without a doubt there were some great references in here. I love the way that Peter actually passes down with great power comes great responsibility to Gwen. I thought that was great. But yeah, I think this series so far is getting better and better. I mean, animation and all. What do you think of the episodes? Comment below. Let's get a conversation going. As always, if you enjoy my thoughts, make sure you like, subscribe. You know, we got more episodes coming. Trying to come up with different videos until Ninja Turtle comes back. But my last video in the description down below. And until my next video, I will see you later.